This is the last video on Nintendo stuff, I promise, okay? So let's get right into it. Apparently the delay to the Switch 2 in America because of the Orange Man's tariffs are just the pre-order window. The console itself is still going to end up releasing June 5th for you guys in America. Unfortunately, the tariff is probably going to end up making the console extremely expensive, which is kind of the smallest of your worries because frankly speaking, the tariffs are going to affect a wide array of things. Being Canadian, I can just say that's what you get for voting for that guy. More importantly, I wanted to have this video focused on my Canadian brethren and how you're going to end up pre-ordering the Nintendo Switch, because I was getting a lot of mixed signals from various employees at Best Buy and EB Games, or Gamestop, sorry. And I finally have some definitive answers that I can share with you guys. So this Wednesday, April 9th, the online stores are going to open 9 a.m. Pacific time, but that kind of sucks for me because my local stores actually open an hour after. What this means is stores like Best Buy, Walmart, and stuff like that will essentially be completely sold out of Switch 2 pre-orders by the time the store opens, because that's an hour's worth of resellers and scalpers and bots to pick up all the pre-orders. But GameStop is different. I can't confirm that this is 100% certain for everyone across Canada, so call your local GameStop and confirm. But what they're gonna be doing is a separate pre-order for in-store and online. And as far as I know from the GameStop manager I talked to, he was saying that they don't have a limitation on the amount of units that they can sell for pre-order, which is good. But it doesn't necessarily guarantee you a console day one, because obviously the store itself is going to have limited inventory. Doesn't matter if they pre-sell 1 million of them, which actually got me thinking, maybe that's why the Switch is launching so soon to its announcement, because it means that you won't have to wait until November for the first shipment to go out so that they could then restock. Instead, all you gotta do is wait until June. So point being is, depending on where you are in your time zone, it might be more beneficial to just wait outside of the GameStop store for it to open so that you can get a physical pre-order. That's what I'm going to do, because I don't want to have to mess around on the website and try to compete with not only bots, but the websites being constantly crashed because of the amount of traffic. Now, I did also get a little bit more info in regards to release dates and prices for various games here in Canada. You'll see a lot of people in America talking about like, oh, these Switch games are like $80 US, that's insane. Meanwhile, us over here in Canada, it's like, oh, that's gonna be $120. But apparently that's not going to be the case, because the game prices are going to be localized. Yay! For example, whatever price that you end up paying for Monster Hunter Wilds at your local GameStop is more than likely what they're gonna limit the cost of Switch 2 games to. Now, depending where you live in Canada, me being in BC, for example, I get taxed to shit. We get PST and GST. So Switch games will probably end up being like $110, $120 for me. Because if I try to buy a game off of the Switch 1 store, they always equal out to $100 because of taxes anyways. But I digress. My point being is that Nintendo Switch 2 games will be cheaper than their conversion rate US equivalent. Suffice to say, you'll be able to get 100% confirmation of the price point for these various games and Nintendo Switch 2 accessories when the pre-orders start, because then everything is available. The employee I talked to also mentioned that Metroid Prime 4 may also be pre-orderable at the same date. If I had to guess, I'd say Metroid is probably going to end up releasing in August, because that's going to end up being the anniversary month. And it would make sense, because then we would have June for Mario Kart, July for Donkey Kong, and August for Metroid, so that we would have a big game every month. Granted, we also have the Pokemon game coming, so maybe that'll be in August instead, who knows? Oh, and one last thing that I wanted to address in this video that I kind of skimmed over in the last video, which was physical copies of games. There's been a lot of stuff that's been kind of open to interpretation because Nintendo hasn't given us direct answers about the various qualities of things that are coming with the Switch 2. In this case in particular, I was severely worried that a physical copy of a game would be locked to your system, because the way that Nintendo explains it, you essentially will pick up a physical copy of a game and have a code that applies to your system that then downloads the game. Funny enough, I actually found an answer buried in the Nintendo support forms. wherein it says that a physical copy of a game will be a physical cartridge that gets inserted into the console and basically gives you a license so that you can download the game from the store. The point being is that you have to have the physical cartridge in order to download and play the game in the first place, with an internet connection only being required to download the game and run it for the first time, and then you can just run it offline anytime. But you still have to have the cartridge, which would mean that the cartridge is in fact still going to be able to be resold to other people. Oh, and in regards to the Nintendo accessories, more particularly the webcam, because that's something that I'm interested in. The webcam itself is $50 US. I don't know the Canadian price point for it yet, but suffice to say, you can use any USB-C webcam on the Nintendo Switch 2. It doesn't have to be the Nintendo one. And unfortunately, they don't give us specs of that webcam, so I don't know if you're gonna be paying for a good quality webcam or for a webcam that says Nintendo on it. Point being is you could get like some $20 piece of crap from Walmart and it would end up doing the same thing. I would also like to confirm with 100% certainty that Joy-Cons, Pro Controllers, and pretty much anything from the Switch 1 will work on the Switch 2. The only difference being is that you obviously won't have the little chat button. But the console itself is going to end up coming with the grip thing that the Joy-Cons latch onto to make it like a normal controller. And I also noticed that on the back of that Nintendo Joy-Con grip thing has those additional back triggers, unlike the Switch 1 Joy-Con grip. Point is, I don't know if I feel like buying any more Joy-Cons. I've still got a crap ton of them from my Switch 1. And as far as a Pro controller, I mean, I love the Pro controller, but I'm probably just gonna wait for some third-party one that has Hall effect joysticks, because unfortunately, the Nintendo Joy-Cons and Pro controllers do not have Hall effect on them. Hall effect basically just means that the joystick has like some magnets in it that basically prevent it from ever getting stick drift.